To the first story, the National Social Security Fund earnings grew by 16% from Uganda shillings 2.3 trillion to 2.5 trillion shillings for the financial year ended June 30th, 2024. The fund attributes the robust growth to an increase in interest income earnings, dividend income, as well as real estate income. Let's have the details. The National Social Security Fund's performance report for the financial year 2023-2024 comes ahead of the much-anticipated annual members' meeting on September 27, 2024 in Kampala. Thanks to its robust performance, savers can look forward to a competitive interest rate, which will be declared by the Minister of Finance, Matia Kasaija.
Look at our contributions, and this is a good number to actually tell, because if you follow the money, it tells a story. The last 5 years, 1.27 in 2019, 2021 was 1.37, 2022 1.49, 2023 1.72, 2024 1.93 trillion. It has been increasing, and this tells us that more and more people are interested in the fund with their savings.
As of June 2024, the fund's assets had risen to 22.1 trillion shillings, an increase of 19.2% compared to the previous year.
When you come and you're eligible for your money, it will be there. Safety, that it drives our control environment, drives how we do business, that safety proposition, that value, that we promise your money will be safe. But the other aspect of safety is interesting is, not only will your money be there, but you won't lose value in the process. That's why we have this promise that at any interest rate that we declare, it must be at least 2 percentage points above 10-year inflation to preserve the purchasing power of your shilling.
The fund also saw a significant rise in member contributions, which increased by 12.2% from 1.7 trillion shillings in the financial year 2022-2023 to 1.93 trillion shillings in the financial year 2023-2024. NSSF's impressive performance reflects an improvement in the overall investment environment in Uganda and across the East African region.
We made 22 billion from Airtel, and we made 40.5 billion from MTN in dividends. Now there are a couple of other counters that gave us very good dividends, like Equity Bank 19, Safaricom 19, TBL 10. So basically the point I'm making is that we saw very good dividend income year on year, but then there's a story on the recovery of the equity markets. The exchange rate recovered this year in our favor, to the extent that we made 255 billion in exchange gains alone. And when you amalgamate all our equity positions year on year, the fair value gain on equities was over 300 billion. So when you put all that together, it explains why year on year we moved from almost 1.9 trillion to 22 trillion.
And we have strict investment policies on where we can. We do very critical and serious due diligence in any business we invest in, because we are tasked, number one, to protect the money, like Patrick has already said, but also to give a reasonable return on our savings.
Beyond revenue growth, the fund excelled in other key performance indicators, including an increase in benefits paid and enhanced cost management. Dennis Igoa for UBC Business. To our next story, the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development is organizing the Pan-African Business Forum Uganda, scheduled to take place in Munyonyo from October 6th to 12th, 2024. The Pan-African Congress Business Forum aims to highlight the urgent need to strengthen trade relations between East Africa and the USA.
The inaugural 2024 Pan-African Congress Business Forum Uganda seeks to provide the African diaspora with a home and a platform to develop a strategy for Uganda and the continent, fostering socio-economic integration and promoting trade, investment, research and advanced technologies.
We have had in March 2023, March or May, we did a training of some export companies. And so we began to have some targets on this market, and we feel strongly that the work done there should not be left hanging. That's why this event happens.
As of 2021, the USA is the world's largest consumer market, with over $18 trillion recorded in consumer spending. PASAID, led by Audrey Krabogo, aims to leverage this trend by enabling Ugandan entrepreneurs to enhance both the quality and quantity of production in key sectors such as agriculture and tourism.
So we export more than 13 products: coffee, tea, beef, dairy. But the US focuses, when you look at our export numbers, it's coffee, it's casein, it's vanilla, it's some fish, it's minerals, several other things. But we're insisting not just simply people in those sectors. We want edutech, people who invest in education for training. Health tech, people who invest in long-distance medicine training.
Despite Uganda's suspension from AGOA effective January 1st, 2024, PASAID, in collaboration with the government, is employing a trade representatives approach to sustain and grow market penetration in the US, while negotiations for reinstatement.
We began with the work of trade representation. The President of Uganda was hosted in Chicago, and that began the process for a couple of events we've done there. Those events we've done in Detroit. I think we had Detroit people come here.
Trade representatives are our key contacts in the market in the US. In the US, we have two trade representatives. We have Cody Lance, who is basically in Illinois. Then we have Dr. Olivier Kamanzi, who is in Chicago. These are our key contacts in terms of attracting the right people and promoting this event in the US.
Progress. This event is expected to facilitate an increase in Uganda's exports by $10 billion by the year 2030. Wadulo Mark Arnold for UBC News in Kampala.
General Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president of Nigeria, has highlighted the lack of knowledge as one of the key factors hampering African trade. He made these remarks during a visit to Pearl Dairy Farms Limited in Mbarara City. Accompanied by President Yoweri Museveni and the First Lady Janet Museveni, General Obasanjo expressed optimism about Uganda's trade potential, assuring President Museveni of a ready market for the country's dairy products and coffee in Nigeria. Let's have a look.
Former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo paid a courtesy call on President Museveni. The two leaders toured Pearl Dairy Farms Limited in Mbarara. The farm is known for its advanced processing capabilities and has become a key player in Uganda's dairy sector. Speaking shortly after the tour, His Excellency Obasanjo expressed his satisfaction upon learning that Uganda can produce approximately 5.7 billion litres of milk per year, positioning the country as a potential leader in dairy production in the region.
One of the things, and I can see that now more vividly, that has deliberated against our trading among ourselves in Africa is lack of knowledge. Lack of what we are doing in our different countries and different regions. I did not know. If you like, you can say I am an ignoramus. But I did not know that Uganda produces over 5 billion liters of milk annually.
He assured President Museveni and the farmers of Kiruhura and Kazo districts that Nigeria is willing to buy Ugandan processed milk and coffee.
But another good thing for which I would thank President Museveni is that we now have Air Uganda coming to Nigeria. And therefore, that makes it easy to get anything from here to Nigeria. We will be using Ugandan milk in Nigeria.
On his part, President Museveni thanked His Excellency Obasanjo for coming to Uganda and allowing to partner with Uganda to buy Ugandan milk and coffee. He promised him that Uganda has the capacity to produce enough milk for the local and international market.
So therefore, we are very lucky
tulina omugisha
for General Obasanjo to take interest
okutayayirwa owabiri president wa Nigeria General Obasanjo
and come here.
ahabw'okuhurira ekiturukukora kandi akakitayayira.
We have been to Mbarara.
Nituruga Mbarara hati.
We visited one of the factories there.
Twatayayire ikorero rimwe rihango.
And you saw what is being done.
Currently, Uganda's milk export value stands at approximately $264.5 million, and government is actively working to remove barriers such as diseases affecting cattle to enhance output.
The Karuma hydroelectric power station, with a capacity of 600 megawatts, is set to be officially commissioned on the 26th of September. The power station, which began commercial operations in June 2024, marks an important milestone in Uganda's energy sector. Dr. Patricia Litho, the Assistant Commissioner Communications and Information Management at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, provides key insights into the power station's capacity and its expected transformative impact on both the energy sector and the broader economy.
It's quite an exciting time for the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, because finally we get to commission the Karuma hydropower project. We shall also commission the Karuma interconnection project. So this is the dam and the transmission line that evacuates power off the station to different places. So there are 4 substations in different places to basically contribute towards stabilizing the energy infrastructure. So it's a 600 megawatt power plant. It is the largest in Uganda. It's one of the biggest in Africa. I've read in places where they say in terms of technology, it is the first in Africa, 7th in the world, because of the under-tunnel technology they are using to produce power. So we are quite excited. It means that we have more power on the grid, coming to about 2,000, slightly more than 2,046 megawatts. Uganda is targeting 52,000 by 2040. So that is a step towards the right direction. Of course, there are so many other generation plants that are in offing that are planned for. We are moving towards renewable energy. So of course, Uganda's energy transition plan is to be clean, use renewable. So we're on the right path.
In the sector, there's always this statement, energy poverty. So first of all, I'd like to know from your perspective, do we have energy poverty in Uganda? And as we have Karuma coming onto the grid, what are some of those, is it going to tackle anything related to energy poverty, not only in Uganda and also in the East African region?
Yes, because Uganda is part of the East African power pool. By producing more power, it means we can contribute more. It is also a source of revenue. Of course, we've had suppressed demand. So the demand for energy or electricity in Uganda is actually quite significant. But how widespread is our infrastructure? So our infrastructure is a growing one in terms of reach. For instance, just last month we managed for the first time to reach West Nile in terms of getting them onto the grid, which is more stable. But the government of Uganda uses a hybrid or a mixed approach where we are encouraging different sources of power. There's the hydro, there's the solar. Of course, there are the more rudimentary methods that we want to move away from and move more to clean energy. But we know that people still use charcoal. So an alternative, we are promoting briquettes, which is cleaner. We are promoting ethanol, which is cleaner. So we are promoting different sources of energy so that people can access what's easier for them. Some people in remote places where there is no access in terms of the grid, but even solar, maybe for one reason or the other, it's not yet there. But also, in the last month, government has also launched several projects. Of course, in addition to Busitema that's already producing solar, we have the Ituka one that was launched through Amia Power that is going to be set up in Madio Kolo. So the energy plan, the energy strategy for the country is broad, and there's so many plans. So in terms of talking about energy poverty, I think it really depends on where you look at it from.
Okay, Doctor, the 600 megawatts power station, how does it align with Uganda's energy transition goals and renewable energy targets?
It does. First of all, hydro is a renewable energy source, so it is clean. It also increases how much energy we have. Now we move to over 2,000. But the bigger goal of government is to move towards 52,000 megawatts. But the drive is really to not just have energy or electricity for basic use like household, but also to encourage industrialization. So even when you look at the current National Development Plan 3 and preparation for NDP4, we are moving in that direction to increase load. Load, we mean people who can use the energy, because production is there, but sometimes we are unable to consume it because how much can we use? So if we could just give a simple example, well, not simple, but if we could give an area like Karamoja, just the discovery of minerals and the number of industries, cement, marble that are coming up, the amount of electricity they need. So what we are providing now with Karuma switched on, you might find in the next 2-3 years is not even sufficient. With all these industrial parks that we are now promoting, each of them needs power and water as basics. You know, so do we have enough? So if all this come up in the next 2-3 years, you'll find the 2,000 is not enough. So we must have a plan, and we do have a plan to expand not only generation, but also other sources of energy. Uganda is also promoting nuclear, that's another source, and we're encouraging more people to use solar. We're also promoting ethanol as an alternative source of energy. So all these are part of Uganda's bigger plan to stabilize, to have more stable power, but also there are plans to improve the infrastructure. The Karuma project also had the interconnection. That is part of the improvement of the infrastructure plan.
You've actually touched on my other question, and it's about, of course, Uganda's vision. We've been talking about industrialization. Like every year, the last couple of years, the budget has always factored in the issue of industrialization. So Karuma coming onto grid, what is the expected impact in terms of industrialization goals as well as the economic transformation?
First of all, we expect more stability, reliability of power. So of course, when you have sufficient power, issues of shedding off load should not really arise. If it happens once in a while, but not because you have insufficient capacity. It could be maybe because of the poor network or the old network. We know that our network is generally old, so there's that general move to refurbish it. So maybe that should be the only reason that maybe for so many hours, today, 3 hours, we shall be building this section, but not that we can't generate or there's insufficient power. So that should be a thing of the past. But in terms of industrialization, every industrialist, every factory, every industry wants stable power. There are people who have shown interest in investing in the country. These industrial parks we are setting up. But the issue is always like, your power is unreliable. From our feasibility studies, it's not safe to set up an industry because of unreliable power. Or the product is more expensive than it should have been because they must have those alternative sources of power that are more expensive. So of course, if they're using heavy diesel generators, it's more expensive. I mean, it's like being in Kalangala, where they have been having that alternative. The unit cost of power is higher because of the generation cost. So that's the same applies to the industries, is that the cost should automatically come down. Already the government has a policy where industries are purchasing at 5 cents. There's also the alternative of getting rid of the reeling fees where they are buying maybe through an existing network. But government has provided a provision where industries can be served directly from the substation. So automatically the cost of energy would go down, it would make it cheaper, it would make the production cost cheaper, the industrialist is happy, the consumers are happy because the products are more affordable.
Your parting shot as we come to the tail end of this interview?
My parting shot is that as a government of Uganda, of course, we are happy, we're excited, we congratulate the visionary direction of the president, who ensured that we get funds for this, who had the conviction that Ugandans can do this. As you know that this project was part funded by government of Uganda, but also the belief in the capacity of the technical team for Ugandans to supervise this. We had a team from Ministry of Energy, a team from Generation, a team from Transmission overseeing this. It's a step in the right direction. Already our team from Generation is going to be able to run that just like they're doing in Isimba, and as part of the second generation reforms in the energy sector of ensuring that government basically takes ownership of some key strategic areas. This is in the right direction. That way there's control on pricing, but also control on investment in the right direction so that it's in line with the national development plans.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Great. Delegates from Mozambique have been in Uganda attending the second session of the Uganda-Mozambique Joint Permanent Commission, JPC, aimed at consolidating gains on both the political, security and economic fronts. During the opening of the three-day event, officials from both countries acknowledged the strong historical ties between the two nations dating back to the colonial era. Uganda and Mozambique share strong historical bonds rooted in the Fronasa and Frelimo liberation struggles from the shackles of colonialism and bad governance in the post-colonial era. These ties have laid a firm foundation for enhancing bilateral cooperation.
We have historical ties with the Republic of Mozambique, given our liberation struggles between Frelimo, Fronasa, which anchored our foundation for both our countries. So this is following the state visits of Their Excellencies the President of Mozambique and the President of Uganda to Maputo and Entebbe respectively.
The bilateral relations between the two countries were re-established through the Joint Permanent Commission, which was initiated in 1987.
This is the second session of the Joint Commission after 34 years. The first one was 1988, and because of the circumstances, now we are opening the new page in the cooperation between the two countries, having the second session of the Joint Commission.
This relation was further solidified by a cooperation framework signed in 2018 in Maputo that lays out the areas of cooperation and sets the pace for further bilateral engagements and collaboration.
We need to trade in serious, okay? Serious. We need to trade in dairy products, okay? We need to trade in even buses. When I was in Mozambique, I see opportunities of buses which we are making in Kira. We are making very good buses, and that country needs buses, and they can do it. I saw it, that opportunity is there. Export manpower, skilled manpower, that one is possible. And some Ugandans who are there are doing very well. So we need to improve on agriculture. The plenty of land, they have given us land. We need to start cultivating. We saw many graduates in agriculture in the University of Mozambique, okay? And we want them really to impart knowledge and skills to the people of Mozambique. So there is a lot they can do between us.
This meeting in Kampala is focused in fostering structured and enhanced bilateral relations between the two sister countries.
They've given us a draft of visa exempt, so it's upon the government of Uganda to accept that understanding to exempt visas for the Mozambicans that come here. So it's really a great opportunity. Yes, currently both parties charge each other, and as you are aware, when like the colleagues that have come here, I'm sure they have paid $50 to come here.
And in the airline industry, we have what we call the bilateral air services agreement. So we are looking forward to these 2 days, getting out with a signed memorandum between Uganda and Mozambique that allows the airlines to fly and support one another. So as we've been seeing Uganda Airlines growing wings, going to different countries, this could also be another country.
Because for an airline to be able to fly into another country, the bilateral air service agreement must be in existence. So for us on the aviation industry, we look forward to a complete signing of a bilateral air service agreement.
Through enhanced bilateral ties, Uganda and Mozambique expect significant economic and social advancements across the areas of cooperation under the two subcommittees, political security and economic. The discussions are anticipated to result in several memoranda of understanding. Top on the agenda of the Joint Permanent Commission between Mozambique and Uganda is enhancing trade, collaboration in the aviation industry, as well as allowing free visa access between the two countries. Dennis Igoa for UBC Business.
We've had a lull for quite some time, about a decade of no work, ever since the framework of cooperation was signed. Now, after the directive by the Excellencies, President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Museveni, and His Excellency Filippo Nyusi, I think we have taken off, and our resolution must be never to go back. We must just move forward. My prayer is that all that we have resolved in today's session and all that has been captured in the memorandum of understanding that have been signed be put into effect. Particularly the memorandum of understanding that for me is the biggest takeaway is the exemption of visa requirement for citizens of the Republic of Mozambique and citizens of Uganda in traveling to both countries. I think this is the biggest takeaway. First of all, trade is about movement of goods, but by the people. If you restrict the movement of people, then the goods won't reach the destinations. But remember also we offer services. So removal of visa requirement to travel the two destinations is a stimuli to trade in the goods and the services. That's number one. But the MOA on cooperation is about exchange of expertise. That's transfer of technology, transfer of expertise between the two countries. And that in itself will spur economic transformation in either side of the two countries.
As always, we conclude the show with some words of wisdom. As Uganda marks another milestone with the launch of the Karuma Hydroelectric Power Station, let us remember that the true significance lies not just in its completion, but in how we harness its potential to drive our social and economic progress forward. Otherwise, thank you for being part of the show. I've been your host, Dennis Igoa. Let's catch up next time. Bye-bye.